it's important to kind of understand this. I mean, not just as a diagram but as an experience. Okay, like what we are trying to say is, on the upper layer is this thinking, which is also eye-centric, right? This, the outermost layer is eye-centric thinking, right? I need to get this sorted, I need to achieve this, if I don't do this, this will happen, if I don't manage this, that will happen, whatever. So the outermost layer is that. Underneath that is what? Emotion. Why are we fixing all the time? Why are we planning, solving all the time? What is the emotion? What is the motivation to fix? To be happy. And what is actually the experience? We want to be happy, but when what is the experience of underneath the thoughts, what's going on? What is the emotion usually in trying to fix and plan stuff? When you're fixing and planning a lot, what is it? What is going on? Hmm? Yeah, no? There's worry and there's fear. There's fear that if I don't plan and fix, I will remain in a situation which is uncomfortable, where I am not going to be happy. So I have to keep planning and fixing, because underneath that there is what? Fear. Right? Fear is one of the most potent human emotions, right? I will become sad, I will become lonely, but fear of being lonely, fear of being sad. You see? It's fear. And how does this fear come up? How do we experience this fear? We experience it through unpleasant body sensations. So what happens is, thought arises. It is dependent upon what? It is dependent upon something happening inside the system. From where does a thought come? How does a thought just come? What is it dependent upon? Okay, suddenly a thought comes, right? You're sitting meditating. Suddenly. Where is it coming from? Why is this thought coming? Why is it arising? It's arising based on something. Something is being perceived, and then the interpreting mind is interpreting that perception. What is being perceived? See, if you're in a greatly joyful space, do you have thoughts which are uneasy? No. Unless in that joyful space, fear suddenly comes and says, oh, don't be so joyful. Life is not all that cool right now. Something has to enter. What is that entry? What is the experience of that entry? It is not always an external threat. So what is that internal threat? Because you're sitting quietly meditating, there's no threat. Of what? Correct. That's a thought. That's the thought. Right? It has arisen. Okay. Let's say that's the thought beneath the thought. So let's say the thought is, I will go now and I will first do this and finish this, and then I'll have a nap. Let's say it's as simple as that. Right? This thought is coming out of the feeling that if I don't think this, I will not have an okay time today. Isn't it? Why is this thought coming? Of course you will go do what you have to do and sleep. What's there to think about it in your meditation? But it's coming. The thought is arising out of what? See, it's very important to understand that what is happening on a subtle level, right? All thoughts are, we have said, eye-centric, mostly, right? Eye-centric, me-centric, mind-centric, and extending my country, my family, my whatever, humankind, animals, environment, but everything goes from me and goes out, right? So something is happening on a level of subtle body sensations. Something is being perceived, sensed. Some trepidation, some movement, some maybe unpleasant movement in the system, which the mind is going and interpreting as, this is not okay, I need to move away from it. I'll move away by fixing it in my thought. There is something happening before the thought is happening. Like for example, when you say I will pick this up and drink water, the thirst is there before I pick it up. Thirst is a body sensation, isn't it? Hunger is a body sensation. Then the thought, I will go eat, I'll open the fridge, let's see what's there, what's not there, etc., etc. Then open, then action. So action, underneath action, thought, underneath thought, sensation. All thoughts have sensations, not just hunger and thirst. All thoughts of fixing, planning also have body sensations under them. And the body sensations are of a certain kind. Thirst is unpleasant, like I need to fix it. Hunger is unpleasant, I need to fix it. Similarly, body sensations that are unpleasant, I need to fix them. So there is aversion to those unpleasant sensations and a tendency to go fix them. So the experience is of something you cannot describe. It's subtle in the body, and then the mind interprets it as this. It is not necessarily this. It is just unpleasant sensations that keep arising, passing in the body. They get interpreted into thoughts because the body wants to create a homeostasis, like I will stay away from this, I will go for this, which is craving, aversion. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
You're saying there's a layer outside.
That's action. I'm saying there's a layer underneath the thinking. I'm saying it's underneath the thinking, and that layer is of subtle, indescribable, but perceivable sensation in the body. Yeah, neuroplasticity of the brain is not sensation only. Neuroplasticity of the brain is the wiring of sensation and thinking. The sensation, it's there even in a baby, right? I want to eat, unpleasant. I want to be picked, unpleasant. So cry. That's the language, that's the expression. The sensation is there. If there is no unpleasant sensation, babies won't cry. Right? So there is a sensation which is unpleasant, which wants to be resolved. Adults think, babies cry. Because adults feel they're more in control, so they have to think. Babies feel they're less in control, so they have to cry and weep and yell so that somebody else manages it for them. Until they realize, sorry, it's not working that way. You can't keep crying about things. So then you start becoming adult and controlling it as you grow. But the unpleasant sensation is common to you and to a baby, isn't it? So our relationship needs to be with what? With the unpleasant sensation. The thinking is merely an outer expression. Believing in the thinking and acting based on that is actually not even recognizing the root. The root is an unpleasant sensation that arises and passes, arises and passes, arises and passes in the experience of a human being as we go through life. Making sense? Always, exactly. If you have a body, there's no way you cannot experience unpleasant sensations. So your work is not to experience it or to avoid it or to fix it. Your work is to recognize that this is a nature of the body and not get into reactivity. Thereby not getting into thinking at a very subtle space, or if thinking is occurring, then at least not believing in that thinking. Recognizing this is merely a result of unpleasantness in the body. Maybe I can see what is unpleasant and create non-reactivity and equanimity to it. It is a deep conversation because we have to recognize our own experience way before thought is coming up, way before story is coming up. There is something happening which we can only recognize when we settle down, quiet down and notice what is happening on a subtle level. On the gross level, thinking is happening. On an even grosser level, reactivity and action is happening. Slightly subtle from action, thinking. More subtle from thinking, emotion, feeling. More subtle, just unpleasant body sensation towards which the body and the mind is going and saying, I like this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this. So At the core, it's just pleasant body sensations arising and passing. There's nothing more. If you recognize this, the attachment to the I comes down. Right? Because this whole idea that this I, has to be attached to these cravings and aversions. I have to keep fixing and solving this because I should not be in pain. Is this at the core?